Hello everyone, my name is Jesus Reyes, and this is my video reflection for the two documentaries that we watched, Quest for a Homeland and Struggle in the Fields. And well, after watching the documentaries, I've always kind of known a little bit about Cesar Chavez, but I was never too really well informed on him. I did learn a lot from these two videos. I thought they were very interesting. I thought it was very informative. I liked how it mentioned the poem, I Am Joaquin, I think that's what it was called. Or yeah, I Am Joaquin. And well, a little bit about the videos. The Quest for a Homeland pretty much talked about how a lot of Mexicans became immigrants on the very land that they had lived on for like the past few years because of the Mexican American War and because the U.S. won over many states like Arizona, Wyoming, Texas, California, and so on. So we really saw how Mexicans struggled when they became, I guess, immigrants in an area that they had lived there for a while now. It mentioned how they even lost lands that had been in their family for a long time. I thought that was very interesting because, I mean, it was unfair of the U.S. to not accept the deeds that they had just because they were Mexican deeds or Mexican paperwork, which is what ultimately led them to become, a lot of them at least, to become farmers or just laborers, hard laborers, which is kind of like what the second struggle in the fields talked about how the farmers unionized against local growers who were giving them very poor pay, long hours, with little rest and very little opportunity for education and to move up in any sense of the word. They were pretty much stuck in a cycle where their kids had to become farmers as well to help them out, and then and so on. Their kids became farmers, and they were just tired of it. They were fed up. That's why I say that the Chicano civil rights movement didn't really just happen overnight. Their courage and desperation for equality did not just spark overnight. It was about 100 years from 1848, which is when the war was finally over, to about 1965, which is when a lot of Mexicans walked off the fields and refused to work. And that's when the strike began, pretty much a strike that turned into the heart of, I guess, the Chicano civil movements, because what started off as just workers unionizing against their employers turned into getting equal rights throughout America for all Chicanos, because they, like, I think it also mentioned that they, by 1967, only 4 congressmen were Mexicans, so we had very little representation when it came to rules, laws being made. And after 5 years of the union and constant battling, Cesar Chavez strike, fasting, and so on, many very struggles, the growers finally agreed to a contract that happened, I think, in 1970. So 5 years later, it took that long for people to realize that they did not have equal rights. Well, at least in the sense of the union workers. But it didn't just Cesar Chavez realized that it wasn't just about the farmers at that point. It was much larger than that. It was for all of America to be more fair towards Mexican American immigrants who weren't really like illegal immigrants or anything. There were people who lived there and on the land that became America. Soon after, I think the video even kind of mentioned it, where at least it like led towards like the idea that students, young Mexican Americans, realized that change is possible. They saw that through the the contract that was signed between Cesar Chavez and the union and all the growers in California. They saw that change was possible, and they started a reform for better education and just all around rights for Mexicans, because at that point they were just second class citizens that weren't really wanted. But overall, I feel like their struggle was worth it. I mean, today we are no longer second class citizens. We have rights. We can vote. Although racism is still alive, we have a lot more rights than we did back then. We are considered human, and well, yeah, that's my reflection on the video.